Welcome back. We are working on our lesson 23, tangents and secant lengths in a circle. Review homework 23, number part 2. So questions 5 and now hopefully 6. So in question 5, in circle O, chord AOB is drawn, which chord AOB is passing to the center of the circle, which means it has to be diameter. Point C is located on the exterior of the circle with tangents CB and secant CDA drawn. It is known that CD is 2, so let's measure off CD to be 2, and DA is 6, which means CA is going to be 8, because you're adding two segments together here. And so then determine the length of BC, which I'm going to call in this case X. Well, and again, this is a tangent secant situation, so we have our secant BC squared is equal to the whole segment of the secant, which is in this case CA times the outside part, which is CD. So in this case, our x squared is equal to CA, which is 8, times CD, which is 2. X squared equals 16. X is equal to 4 because we took the square root of both sides, and we took the positive value. Therefore, BC is equal to 4. Okay, so make this 4. Now, for part B, it says, what is the length of the radius of a circle in simplest radical form? Now, one of the things we can do is, because of the fact that the tangent is intersected by not any chord but diameter, it's going to be perpendicular to diameter, forming a right angle. And so now we have a right triangle situation. And so we know that this measurement's 8, this measurement's 4, and this is the unknown value, which we'll call, in this case, B. All right? And so we use Pythagorean theorem. The leg squared plus the second leg squared is equal to hypotenuse squared, which is C. So in this case, we'll let A be 4. So 4 squared plus B squared is equal to C, which is 8 squared. So now we have 16 plus B squared equals 64. Subtracting 16 from both sides, we get B squared is equal to, in this case, that's a 5, and that's an 8, and this is going to be a 4. B squared is equal to 48. All right, and we take the square root of both sides, and we get B is equal to the square root of 48, which is equal to the square root of 16 times the square root of 3, or in this case, 4 square root of 3. But that's the whole diameter. We want the radius. So the radius is equal to 4 square root of 3 over 2. So we're looking for the radius to be equal to 2 square root of 3. Oops. 2 square root of 3. Okay? I'm going to write that down again. 2 square root of 3. So it's easier to see, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right. Now, hopefully that was okay. Part C, which determine angle C. Well, it's a right triangle. So and the hint is going to be consider right triangle trig instead of circle theorems. So what we're going to do in this case, because we have exact values, we could in this case try to find the angle by using this measurement. Now, me personally, I know that this measurement here was 8. Okay, the hypotenuse, and so looking for angle C here, and we calculated exactly to find that the leg adjacent was 4. Now you can use, in this case, if you want to use the leg opposite, the 4 square root of 3, that's fine too. But me, I also use the values we have here, and so I'm going to use the cosine of C is equal to, again, the leg adjacent over hypotenuse, which is going to be 4 over 8. So now, to find the measure angle C, we use the inverse cosine, okay? Inverse cosine of 4 over 8. So now let's take the calculator, and hopefully get a nice angle measure here. Okay, so second cosine of 4 divided by 8. Close parenthesis. Now, before I continue, make sure the mode is in degree mode. Great. And so now we are going to get an angle measure of 60 degrees. Okay, so our measure angle C is 60 degrees. Okay, all right, so now last question is find the measure of arc AD and show how you arrive at the answer. Okay, so let's mark our diagram here. This is 60 degrees. And we want to find the measure arc AD. Well, if angle C is 60 degrees, that would mean that angle A had to be 30 degrees. Okay? So if angle A is 30 degrees, that would mean the measure of arc BD, so the measure of angle CAB, let's write this down, the measure of angle CAB equals 1/2 the measure of arc BC, because the measure of an inscribed angle is 1/2 the measure of the arc intercepted. Now I'm going to make this full screen. I keep pressing the wrong buttons. Make this full screen, and let's take a look here. So we see in this case that it's very messy here, but we see in this case if the measure is 30 degrees, okay, and we're looking for arc DB here, this arc here. So that means in this case, we're going to calculate 30 is equal to 1/2 of the measure arc BC. Now, if I multiply both sides by 2, the measure of arc BC is equal to 60 degrees. Now, why is it helpful? Well, to find the measure of arc DA, AD, that's equal to the semicircle of arc BDA, arc BDA, minus the measure arc BD. And so we're going to get, in this case, 180 minus 60 is equal to 120 degrees for our measure. So the measure arc DA equals 120 degrees. Okay? And so this is using all the information from before about our inscribed angles and such. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. All right, and so I'm gonna stop part 2 here so that you guys can take a look. And I'm gonna go make this full page so we can see how first the answer for A was 4 because we used our rules for tangents and secants measurements. Then we found in this case the measure of the radius by finding AB, the diameter, using Pythagorean Theorem, and divided by 2 because, again, the radius is half of the diameter. Therefore, the radius is 2 square root of 3. Part C, we used trigonometry, and so I used the nice numbers of 4 and 8 for cosine, and we found the measure of angle C to be 60, and that helped us to be able to find the measure of angle CAB, which is 30. And so we used our rules in this case, that for a inscribed angle CAB is 1/2 the measure arc BC, and therefore 30 equals 1/2 measure arc BC. Multiply both sides by 2 to get measure arc BC be 60, and the measure arc DA is equal to measure arc BDA minus BD, or 180 minus 60 equals 120. Measure arc DA would be 120 degrees. I apologize if the handwriting looks like a 7-year-old's. It's just that, writing in tiny with the big fingers and all. Hopefully it's legible. Thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful. And look out for part 3, the last question. Again, if it's helpful for you, ladies and gentlemen, please leave a like for the video. All right, really appreciate it. And of course, subscribe to the channel. All right, take care, ladies and gentlemen, and be safe.